We're ready.
Close your laptop.
Josh.
Okay, good afternoon, class. Today we're going to continue our unit on the Vietnam War. Our lesson today is going to focus on the draft during the Vietnam War. To get us started, here are our student learning objectives. This is what you will be able to do after the lesson today. Debbie, can you read me the first bullet?
I will be able to activate my prior knowledge.
Okay. Linda, can you read me the second?
I will be able to determine what text is important within an oral.
Pam, third.
I will be able to identify and explain important key terms and events from the Vietnam War era.
Jeremy, fourth.
I will be able to apply my old and new knowledge to create visual aid.
Okay. And the fifth is I will be able to summarize and consolidate my old and new knowledge. Okay, to get started, I want to get a general idea of what you guys know about the military draft. I want you to think of key terms, descriptive words, and just give me what you got according to the military draft. Anybody?
Young guys.
Okay.
I don't think they drew, no women were allowed to be drafted.
Right? Only men?
Controversy.
Controversial? Good.
Undeclared war.
Undeclared? Do you think people were willing to go into the draft?
No, there's a lot of draft dodgers.
Well, there was a lot of
Dodgers?
drafted, but there was a lot of young ones that did want to go.
Okay. Some were willing. Is this something that was forced upon them, government ordered, or was it a choice?
It was forced.
Forced?
They had numbers.
Were there punishments for not showing up after being called for the draft? Were they punishable?
Yes, they were.
Okay, so this just gives us a general idea of what the military draft is. That's good. Hang on. Okay, so this little video clip I have for you guys is the 1969 draft lottery for the Vietnam War, and it gives us a little bit of insight of how it was conducted. While we are watching the video, I want you guys to think about your thoughts and feelings according to the military draft. Kind of put yourself in the perspective of a 19-year-old back in 1969. How would you have felt? Would you have been willing to enter the draft? Would you have maybe went AWOL? What would you have done? And then I want you to think if there's any reason there's controversy surrounding the military draft. So after we get done with the video, you guys are going to take out a sheet of paper and do your daily journal writing.
Norelco, even our name says, Merry Christmas. The Draft Lottery, a live report on tonight's picking of the birth dates for the draft.
Pursuant to the executive order, the Director of Selective Service is going to establish tonight a random selection sequence for induction for 1970. I will ask Congressman Perney to come forward. Congressman Perney is representing the United States, the Military Affairs Committee of the House, and he also is a senior Republican president who has been the watchdog committee of this selective service system. And we're going to ask him to choose first. September 14th. September 14, 001.
There are 366 numbers to select, one for each birthday in the year, plus
October
one for
27th.
February 29th, the leap year. The ceremonies began at 8 o'clock. This evening, this has been a very systematic, almost mechanical lottery, the first truly nationally televised lottery we've ever had. There's been because of the CBS News whose special
Okay, so that's a good example. That's an actual source that is how the draft lottery occurred. Could you imagine if your birthday was September 14th and you were the very first one to be drawn out? So that gives you some insight into that. Now, take the 5 minutes to do your journal writing, and then we will continue with today's lesson. So if we were in a regular classroom, I'd have my students right now do their 5 minutes worth of journal writing. And since we're on time limit, we're going to skip to the next slide. Okay, so let's see how you guys would have done during the 1969 lottery draft. When's your birthday?
June 9, 48.
June 9th. So we're going to go to June and then 9th. And you would have been draft number 335 out of 366. So you would have been way down the line. Pam?
June 6th.
June 6th. You would have been draft number 110. Yeah. Debbie?
August 21st.
August. And then we're going to go to the 21st. And you would have been draft number 291. So way down the line again. Jeremy?
September 24th.
Find September and then 24. And you would have been draft number 195. Lucky for you, you would have entered the draft because draft number 195 was the last one called for 1970. So you three ladies would have been exempt from the draft in 1970. So that's kind of interesting. Okay, now we're going to do some group work. And since there's only 4 of us, we're going to divide into partners. And we're already separated. Linda and Pam, you're going to be a group. And then Debbie and Jeremy, you're going to be a group. Okay, our group topics. Jeremy and Debbie, your topic is going to be facts surrounding the Vietnam draft. Pam and Linda, your topic is draft dodgers / draft resistors. And we're going to start this project by using the KWL chart. Your first step is to complete the first column, the what I know column. Okay, so you and your partner are going to work together. You're going to brainstorm any information you know about your particular topic. Okay? Once you've got your brainstorming done and your what I know column figured out, you're going to move to the second column. It's what I want to know. You need to generate questions about the topic and what you want to know about it. If you have any kind of questions, you just write them down here. And then we're going to go on to the third step. I'm going to give you guys 5 minutes to complete the first step. And here are just some tips if you need them for brainstorming. Just ask yourself what the importance of the event is, what you know about it, where you got your information from. Does anything in the media, magazines, anything you've read pertain to it? And think about the time period and the geographical location of things. remember to work with your partner.
Families didn't want their kids to go. Tried to get an exempt. I think he exempt if you were F4, you got another draft. Yeah.
Remember, if you're unsure about something, put it in your what I want to know column. And that's something you can research if you're unsure about it.
That's obvious stuff.
If you need some thinking points for group 1, think about the age requirements. Think about what population of America the draft affected. Did it target one specific population? Think about maybe asking, if you don't already know, how the draft actually worked. We watched a little clip of the draft lottery, but what all went into the draft, like local draft committee boards. For group 2, if you don't know what a draft dodger is, that's a good place to start of researching what exactly is a draft dodger. You can ask yourself, what types of people tried to dodge the draft? Was there a specific group of people? What were their reasonings for dodging the draft? Did they have reasons? Did they have good reasons? Were they religious reasons, personal? And then what kind of punishments maybe the draft dodgers got?
Any other group?
You have about a minute left.
They all got together and they all get together and marched against it. Marches. What am I trying to say? What's that word? They all get together and demonstration. They demonstrated. Yeah, that's awesome. That's right.
Let's see, what else? The territory, jungle.
give you guys just a little bit to finish up.
Fire. That was cool. Is there a timer in there? That's neat. We work with it. Yes.
That's fine, perfectly fine. Using one sheet was perfectly fine, I should have been doing that. Okay, now our next step is to complete your What I Learned column. You're going to do this by using the articles I'm going to provide you along with your access to the internet. You can research your questions, read through the articles. Any new knowledge you gain from either the articles or the internet, you need to put in that What I Learned column. Once we're completed with that, you guys are going to do a brief summary and a little presentation of your new knowledge combined with your old knowledge. I know you guys love presentations. Okay, so we're going to take a little bit of time. Usually I'd probably give the class, a regular class period, 20 to 25 minutes to complete this, but for time purposes, we're probably going to go about 10 minutes.
We're overachievers.
Okay, this is for group 2.
What happened to my note? Oh, there it is.
There you go. If it's helpful, underline, highlight any new information or information that answers your questions. And then your summary can be paragraph form, or you can just do it in bullet points. And remember to focus on your topic. Group 1 is facts surrounding the Vietnam draft. Group 2 is draft dodgers and draft resistors.
Some legal ways as well as the F4 in college.
This top section there, this bottom's yours. Sorry, just wanted to
Oh,
know.
really?
Top's yours, bottom's
I
there.
see that one. Just one page?
Just to give you
Oh,
some.
that's it, because wealthy men could afford to stay in school. Oh, that's the legal ones, what are the ones that want? Protest, that's the word I was looking for. Saying that. That's how they
a good question for you guys would also be, did the government follow through on the punishments of the draft dodgers?
We remember the word used. And the way that many committed to. What was the punishment the same? What was the punishment was? Let's see. I mean, well, that's, I'll look on here too. Claiming homosexual or conscientious objector, homosexual, children, child. Some of them enlisted in the Coast Guard as a choice. And they sent them to Vietnam. And if you were a divinity student, you were exempt. You're gonna be a preacher. It's F4, or F deferment.
I'm sorry, what? And you're supposed to look for the specifics, like what age group did the draft target, would be a good thing to look up. Did they target 19 through 70 or years old or?
That was probably what ended.
Perfect.
It ended in 1973.
So the draft ends in 1973? The draft was on between?
1973.
Who was the president?
Accused of dodging the 30s, left the country.
Look at you.
No, it was Nixon. It was Nixon, I remember now.
Carter.
Oh,
Carter?
yes,
No,
soft touch.
Yes, there's a sole surviving, so.
Okay, we got about 1 minute.
Draft evasion was not a criminal offense under Canadian law. Desertion was not on the list of crimes for a person to be extradited, so they couldn't get him out of Canada. What was the punishment? Those who went abroad faced imprisonment or forced military service, and they prosecuted them. Ford offered amnesty.
But he wasn't so long, since he was killed.
Jimmy Carter, one day after his inauguration, pardoned them.
So he was on the left arm.
Oh, yeah, I think it's right.
I'd have to do something after that.
Okay.
A lot of them stayed in Canada.
Okay, now of course, in a regular classroom, we would have spent much longer on the research process. They did a very quick research process. And for time purposes, in a regular classroom, I'd go ahead and I'd have the groups take their prior knowledge and their new knowledge and consolidate them together and either create a paragraph summary or a bulleted list. And I'd have somebody from the group get up and do the presentation. For time purposes, we're going to skip that with these guys. And he's very excited about it. And then once that was complete, once the presentations were complete, I would go on, and actually, if there was time left in class, I would have the students write up a formal list of what they learned and their old knowledge, or a summary, a paragraph summary, and then I'd have them swap it with each group, so each group had a copy of their topic. And then after that, we would just move into tomorrow's plan of action, and I would just give them an idea of what we were going to do tomorrow, and I would tell the class that we're going to continue our unit of Vietnam and actually continue talking about the Vietnam draft, and we do argumentative writing over the Vietnam draft. And I would give the students example questions that they could write over, which an example of the question was the draft necessary and was it fair? Should draft resistors have been punished? And we didn't get to President Carter pardoning draft dodgers, so that could be a question for their paper. And I'd let the students know that they'd have to use primary and secondary sources throughout their writing. And that's kind of how we would end the class session. And that is all I have for today. Thank you guys very much for participating. And I'm Danielle. By the way, thank you.
Good job. Good job.